We do have another hot topic to discuss. Ben, can't wait to see you try to dance around the seriousness of this issue. Juan Soto. Guys, Soto and the Mets played the Yankees this weekend. Soto's de facto homecoming to the team he called home for one season. A lot of talks coming out now about maybe he's regretting it. Maybe he never even wanted to be a Met in the first place. I do want to read before we discuss an excerpt from ESPN. Not just some nobody reporting it. This is, the worldwide leader. This is the excerpt. The second instance was Soto's conduct after the Mets 8-2 season loss. Not only was he held hitless, but the signature swag had vanished. Soto's bat seems slow, and more surprisingly, he's put on a few pounds around the middle. Just as Soto turned his back on ESPN, he did the same to reporters who were waiting to speak to him in the post-game clubhouse. Soto got dressed and began walking towards the doors. He told a Mets official he'd be back to answer questions after seeing family members outside. Soto never returned. That's not the same stand-up guy who was always at his locker last season. Even after being skewered on Friday, Soto spoke of the obligation to, quote, take it like a man, end quote. 2 days later, he was running for the exit. These are troubling signs for the Mets hierarchy. I'm told that they're concerned about Soto's lack of enthusiasm for his new team. The only time Soto seemed happy this weekend was while he was interacting with Judge, manager Aaron Boone, and second baseman Jazz Chisholm during batting practice. Thoughts?
New York media, baby. This is New York media at its finest. We just went through all this previous slander all offseason. Yankee fans just cannot get over the fact that Juan Soto chose to go somewhere else and that it cannot be the Yankees' fault. That is all you guys want to say. And you know what I have to say regarding this? And, I'm not able to pull up an exact interview on the spot, but back when Soto was a member of the Nationals, he was asked, would you rather play for the Mets or Yankees? His answer was the Mets. And actually, the reason for that was because more Latino and Dominican players play for the Mets. That was his answer. You know what? I'm done with all this Juan Soto nonsense. Get over it. He's gone. He's a member of the Mets. Move on. You guys just won a series against the Mets. Enjoy that. Why don't you celebrate the pieces you brought in who had success, like Cody Bellinger, who had a very nice weekend? I don't know. Maybe go ahead and praise that guy or praise Aaron Judge. Enjoy what you have in Max Fried. Stop worrying about Juan Soto. He's not yours anymore. Enough. He's gone. I don't take anything from this article. It's, just because ESPN reported it doesn't mean there's a ton of truth to it. And again, it's the New York media trying to spin everything they possibly can.
No, Ben, you said you called it slander, but is it slander if it's true?
I don't believe it's true. You know what? You sit there and say that Juan Soto regrets his decision. That's 100% slander. Juan Soto didn't come out and say, I regret this decision. I wish I stayed with the Yankees. So, yes, you know what? That is 100% slander. That is
here
Juan Soto's mouth.
Here's where I want to say that I believe that there were some bad intentions from ESPN towards Juan Soto on this article. Part of what you read just clicked and stuck out to me. They said in their article that Juan Soto was supposed to be mic'd up during this game, like they do on all the Sunday Night Baseballs, and they were going to talk to Soto, and then he bounced out of it. And ESPN knows the ratings, the clicks, the impressions, all of which that they lost because they couldn't talk to Juan Soto. They couldn't say, what's it like to be back on the Yankees? What was it like talking to Aaron Judge? Do you miss any aspect of this team? And get those questions on tape. So they said, you're not going to give us the impressions that way? Fine, we'll get them our way. However, there was multiple moments this weekend where I thought Juan Soto looked like a guy who missed the Yankees and Yankee Stadium. Not saying he regrets his decision, but you could see some somberness and sadness to be against his former team. And it wasn't the sense of, oh, he couldn't wait to not be a Yankee and he hated playing there, that some people pushed it as this past offseason. There was clearly some, damn, I made a lot of good memories here. It's kind of sad to be back.
Ben, what do you think it is that he's kind of lacking that swag that he's had? He's not really even doing the Soto shuffle much anymore. There's got to be something up with him. Take the Yankee stuff aside. He's not playing well to a standard.
Look, this is, I would say, probably his worst season statistically. It's got to be up there. But again, we just did this with Francisco Lindor. It's his first year with a new team getting settled in. Look at Francisco Lindor now. It took him like 2.5 years to really find himself. Like, he had a good year 2, but he dropped back off again in year 3. This is not anything I'm worried about. Juan Soto is going to figure it out, and he's too good of a player not to.
The only reason I don't think that, that's a fair comparison, Lindor's only played on 2 teams. He was with Cleveland and then the Mets. And it took him, like you said, like 2.5 years to get really comfortable with the Mets. Soto went to San Diego and performed. He spent 1 year with the Yankees in New York, the same city as the Mets, and it didn't take him long to acclimate. He was, playing well from day one. So it's not fair to say he's acclimating to a new team and it takes time, because he's done it twice before without needing that.
100% acclimating to what is the largest contract ever given out in professional sports. So you know what? No, but that's all different kinds of pressure that you're adding that can be similar to playing in a new city. You know what? Yes, it's an excuse, but I'm not sitting here saying it's okay that he's doing poorly, but I'm saying I'm not worried about it. We haven't even played 2 months of baseball yet.
So what do you think?
Well, I think there's something too as well, and I'm not trying to take a shot here or anything, but you were hitting in front of Aaron Judge, who is the best hitter in baseball last year, so you were getting better looks, and now you're that guy in your lineup. Coming into this year, we all looked at Juan Soto as the best hitter in the Mets lineup. We looked at it as a good lineup, but Juan Soto was the central piece of that, so teams are scheming around him. Last year, teams were scheming around Aaron Judge.
No, but it's also not a coincidence, though, that Pete Alonso is then in turn having a career year. Lindor is having his best start to a season as a Met. Lindor has been horrible to start seasons. Even this year, it took him about a week, but he still kicked it into gear. It's not his presence alone in the lineup is unreal. You saw what happened when he was out of the lineup for the first time against Pittsburgh. Shut out. So, look, even if he's not sitting there and hitting over 250, it's fine. His presence is doing a job until he kicks it in. It's still not even 2 months. Took Lindor 1.5 years before he had his best month as a Met.
What about all the Met fans that are turning on him? You can't go on Twitter and not see Met fans complaining about him.
Every fan. So many Met fans. Frank the Tank, again, I'm a Devils fan as well, so I deal with Frank the Tank in that aspect of my life as well. You can't listen to that, but you know how many Met fans went and turned on Lindor? Guess who's going to be right there as a leader and the unofficial captain, should be official captain of the Mets, in Francisco Lindor. He's going to be right there to bring him right through. Because guess what? Soto's here for 5 years minimum. Lindor is here for the entirety of that. He will get him through it.
That's interesting you bring up the 5 years minimum. In what world do you not see him here like 15 years or however long it is? Why 5 years minimum?
Well, it's just simply not going to happen because the only way Soto feels like he wants to opt out of that contract is if he can't win with the Mets or he's not performing. And if he performs, the Mets are going to win.
Well,
They're
the
going to be
Mets have
on the
that,
cusp of it.
but
If
the
he's
Mets
not
have that
performing,
voidable opt out though, where if they add in, some more years and more money, it voids his opt out. So, is there a
yeah,
way
but
he's
I'm
not a
saying
Met?
either way, the Mets, if he's performing, the Mets void it. If he's not performing, he's not going to want to opt out because he's
Right.
not
So,
going to
is there a
snip
world
the
where he's
contract
not a
close to
Met
what he's.
in 6 years from now?
There's not, but I'm saying worst case scenario in terms of the Soto situation is he's here for 5 years and Lindor will be at the 5 years isn't the point. You're getting hung up on the wrong part of it. Francisco Lindor will be a Met so long as Juan Soto is at this point. That's the point.
2030, the
And
return to
Francisco
the
Lindor,
Bronx.
look, he is a tremendous leader. Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor, I guarantee you by the end of the season, are best friends while the Mets are popping champagne winning the NL East.
I kind of like how that's your idea of, end of the season, your goal, just win the NL East. Shoot higher, Ben. I believe in you.
The Dodgers are still a team.
Ben
I don't
did in
care
the
about the
preseason
Angels.
predictions say the Mets were going to win the World Series.
So are you losing faith in them?
Why? How do you lose faith in a team that's been fantastic to start the year?
You're the one who said they're popping champagne winning the division, not the World Series. So I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this.
Well, because whoever's won the NL East has gotten bounced in the first round in this new format every time. But, who knows?
I mean,
He's worried about when Frankie Montas gets in. They're just going to be capped at NL East winners.